Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. I want to take some time today to look at the combination of Llama 70 billion parameter open source model Llama 3 and Groq, which is an incredibly high-speed chip that can produce tokens at over 200 tokens per second. The combination of Llama 3, which is open source, and Groq actually opens up a whole new way of doing chain of thought reasoning. And so I want to take a look at some experimentation that I've been doing. Big credit to Matthew Berman for this, for inspiring this and actually coming up with the questions, although I have identified a couple of problems in his questions that may be leading to some of the incorrect answers. So Matthew, if you're watching, I'll make a note of those couple of changes as I go along. So what we see here is the Groq interface. You just go to groq.com, you sign in with whatever your Google account or whatever you want. Super simple, doesn't cost a penny, which is just amazing. So I love you guys at Groq. Thank you so much. And then up here at the top, you can pick what model you want to use. You can use Mixtral, you can use Llama, you can use the old Llama 2, you can use the 8 billion parameter Llama 3. I'm going to use the 70 billion parameter model to give it the best possible run at this because that's the best model that's out currently that's open source. So what I'm going to do is ask it one logic puzzle and two math questions, all of which Matthew uses on his channel to test out these large language models, large multimodal models, as I call them nowadays, because large language doesn't make any sense. They are multimodal, pretty much all of them. But anyway, what he does is he asks them the question and then he looks at the response and gives it a pass or fail. But what Groq actually enables, because it is so fast, what I've done is I've changed it to producing 10 answers rather than one, and then having the model go back and look at its own answers and determine which one it thinks is the best. And I think this is a sort of a way of allowing the model to do self-reflection. This isn't a very realistic possibility with something like OpenAI's ChatGPT because it's just too slow. But you'll see here in a second that Groq is super fast, and so it's able to produce 10 answers and select from those answers really quickly. And that makes all the difference in terms of being able to do chain of thought reasoning. A lot of people have questioned the use case for Groq because they've said, look, it just produces these things super fast. Why do we need that? Well, this is one potential reason for it. So first things first, the question: assume the laws of physics on Earth. A small marble is put into a normal cup and the cup is placed upside down on a table. Someone then takes the cup without changing its orientation and puts it inside the microwave. Where is the marble now? Explain your reasoning step by step. So basically you're taking a marble and the cup and you're putting it like this and putting it on a table. And when you pick up the cup, obviously the marble is going to stay there. But this really trips up these large multimodal models. It gives them a lot of trouble because I think the orientation thing and just the fact that they're not embodied means that they don't really understand physics as well as a human being does. And then my addition to the test is, please give me 10 answers to this question, explaining your reasoning for each answer. Each answer can be the same. And by the way, I needed to add this because I noted that these models were trying to do different answers for each one. And so I think it was like trying to give me 10 completely different answers. And I was like, no, it can be the same, right? If you figure out what the right answer is, just go ahead and do it. Anyway, each answer can be the same. There is no need for each answer to be different, though the answers can be different as well. Please use these 10 answers as a sort of scratch pad and try different ways of reasoning about the problem. Once you have written out the 10 answers, please go back and read over each of the 10 answers and select the best answer from what you created, and please identify the number of the answer. If you are not satisfied by any of the previous answers, feel free to provide a new answer and be sure to mark it as new. I have never had the model actually do that. It's always selected one of the answers, but I figured I'd put it in there just in case it looked back over it and decided that that was not correct. So anyway, so here's the question again, and I'm going to hit go here, and you'll see you're in the queue, but I mean, good gracious, right? You can see it's doing this so fast. If you use ChatGPT, you'll notice that it is much quicker than that. It answers all 10 and then selects out of this. Yeah, it always gets the answer wrong, even with all of this. So I'm going to actually add one more step to this, but you'll see, number one, it picks out the marble still inside the cup. The cup was placed upside down on the table, so the marble didn't fall out, which is interesting. When the cup was put inside the microwave, the marble was still inside the cup. Reasoning gravity didn't change and the cup was not disturbed. It always makes a mistake because it just doesn't understand that there's no bottom to this cup, right? It's upside down, so when it picks it up, the marble's going to stay there. But what's really interesting down here is that answer number 6 is actually correct. So I'm going to actually tell it, I'm going to say, your answer is wrong, but one of the 10 is correct. Please identify the correct answer and why you got it wrong. So anyway, let's go ahead and do that, and we will see. It should give us an answer relatively quickly. There's a queue nowadays. Groq is actually a victim of its own success. When I was using it before, it was just instantaneous answers. Now you actually have to wait for the queue, so sorry about that. But when it does the answer, you can see it's very, very fast. So the marble is on the table, answer number 2. So there you go. It actually does get that correct, and it actually correctly identifies the problem. I got it wrong initially because I didn't fully consider the effect of gravity on the marble when the cup was placed upside down on the table. I was too focused on the cup not being disturbed. This is really interesting how it answers that question that way. But I neglected the fact that the marble would naturally fall out of the cup due to gravity. Notice that we're getting 300 tokens per second, and it took 0.77 seconds of inference time, so less than a second to type out this answer. That is remarkable. Next up with the exact same pre-prompt, and I will put the pre-prompt in the description. Feel free to modify it. I'm still playing with the exact language of the pre-prompt because I want to try to get it to work as well as possible. But anyway, have at it, but you can use that and copy it as your basis and then work off of that. But anyway, the question is a math question. 2 over a minus 1 equals 4 over y. Y isn't equal to 0. A is not equal to 1. What is y in terms of a? This is where I want to point out that Matthew has this incorrect because he has 2a minus 1 equals 4y, which is a really, really simple answer. It's just 2a minus 1 divided by 4 in that case. So I went on Google and found what I think is actually the correct question, which is 2 divided by a minus 1 equals 4 divided by y. And so if we work all this out, and I think I'm correct with this, although it's been a long time since I've done this kind of algebra, I believe that the answer is 4a divided by 2 minus a. So y equals 4a over 2 minus a. So let's give Groq a chance here, and man, look how fast that is. Just amazing. 10 different answers. Let's go down here. Answer number 2, 4a divided by 2 over a minus 1. And the answer it picks out is answer number 2, y equals 4a divided by 2 over a minus 1. And so if we look at this, this is really close, but I'm not sure it's absolutely correct because I don't know if you can multiply the bottom just by a. If you can do that by itself, you'd get 2 minus a. But I think here that answer 9 is significantly better. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Groq that question. I don't think you have the best answer from your list. Please look again and let me know your best answer. Okay, let's see what we got. Here we go. I'm in the queue. Aha, after re-examining the list, I think the best answer is actually this. So the interesting thing here is that with one shot, with one correction, it's getting the right answer every time, and it's in the list of answers. So what I don't think is happening is I don't think it's actually going back. I don't think it's going back and examining all 10 of these answers with the correct rational eye. So I may need a better pre-prompt or maybe even a prompt after the question that's buried into the question. So if you have ideas on how to do that, definitely let me know in the comments because I think it would be really interesting to try to make this even better so that we can get kind of a single shot where it will actually answer the question. All right, and finally with the same pre-prompt, the function f is defined by f of x equals 2x to the third plus 3x to the second plus cx plus 8, where c is a constant. In the xy plane, the graph of f intersects the x-axis at 3 points, -4, 0, 1/2, comma 0. So Matthew, it's not 12, 0, it's 1/2. I went in and tried to do the math and I was like, wait, this doesn't work at all. So anyway, it's 1/2, 0, and p0, what is the value of c? Also, I would put in these carets because you don't have that in yours. I think you might be throwing it off because it's 2x to the third power plus 3x to the second power, etc. So anyway, I would recommend fixing this to this format because I think you'll have better luck. But let's take a look at what Groq gives us here. All right, and again, really, really fast. So again, you can see how Groq enables me to generate 10 answers and then look at it very carefully. And look at this, we get the right answer. Woohoo, -18. So that's just amazing. So let's see, we got -18, we got -18, we got minus. So I think this problem was actually being thrown, and the reason why Matthew was having so many problems with it was because it said 12 instead of 1/2, because there's just no solution. You can't solve the -4 and the 12 with the same number for C, which was probably throwing it completely off. So we've got -18 for all of these, and that's a fantastic result. All right, so that's my experimentation with Llama 3, but the really important point I want to point out here is that generating multiple answers and then allowing Llama 3 to go back and look at the answers and think about them, I think is leading to a really good potential for it to be able to solve something that's relatively complex that it often can't do a single shot. Now, of course, I still need to keep tweaking that pre-prompt to get it better, and if you can help me with that, I would really appreciate it, because I would like to continue to do these kinds of tests. But the clear thing here is that Groq, by allowing it to produce so many tokens so quickly, allows you to do something like this in a very short amount of time, whereas if you did this with a more traditional interface like ChatGPT, it's way too slow, and you just can't do this in any kind of reasonable amount of time. It would just take forever to do this sort of thing, and it would be very frustrating. Before I got on camera, I did a bunch of these experiments and everything, and if I'd been doing it with ChatGPT, it would have been mind-numbingly slow to get this to work right. So anyway, the really cool part about this is that Groq plus Llama 3 is really opening up a whole new way to use large multimodal models and to be able to generate answers that are better than what we could get with single-shot answers. All right, so once again, a big thanks to Matthew Berman for inspiring this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about the pre-prompt and how you would adjust it to make it even better. And if you experiment with it, let me know about that as well. And also what you think about this combination. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.